Hello, hello. I have something to share. And that is, if somebody sees a decision that you make or something that you do, excuse me, I don't understand why people honk when there's like nowhere to go. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe there are some parts of the world where traffic is just not logical. It doesn't make sense. It's just like a garbage fire, and that's Southeast Florida. Anyway, yeah, okay, so what I'm trying to say, if somebody has an idea or a perception of you in their own mind, and you reveal a truth about yourself that all of a sudden changes the way they perceive you, think about you, and I'm not talking like, you know, you turn around and betray them and, you know, do some heinous crime or something like that. I'm saying, you know, you share some intimate information, you share a personal detail that's like inconsequential to the grand overarching picture of who you are, and they have something to say about it. For example, like a political view, or what else, or maybe you helped out, maybe you saw someone who committed a crime, but you fed them a meal. You know, you did something nice for them. You, on the outside, to ignorant people, it looks like what you did was, you know, support a bad person. That's all they see. That's kind of what I'm talking about. If people can't see past their own assumptions, their own projections, that's on them. But basically what I'm trying to say is that sometimes people can't hold, especially in a very polarizing world, people can't always hold you. Like, if this video found you, if this is your message, you are the type of person who is, you know, what some people call multi-passionate. You don't fit into molds. You are unconventional in every sense. You lead with truth. You don't subscribe to boxes or labels or identities that make you this or that. And then on that note as well, you might fit a handful of stereotypes in one category or in another category, and people kind of look at you and they might reduce you to that. They might label you. They might throw out around terms around your name or in your presence that make it seem like they kind of have your number, but they're really just projecting a pre-packaged set of assumptions onto who you are. But it's not who you are. Your depth, the truth of who you are, is a lot more vast and uncontainable and undefinable than what most people are capable of even holding or seeing. So what I'm saying right now is, when you speak out and you tell the truth and you break that mold, what happens is the people who had their concept of you built in stone in their heads, they can't look at you without that concept crumbling. And you know what else that means? That means that they are confronted with all the other assumptions and concepts that they've built, the illusions that they've built in their lives. So that means being in your presence all of a sudden is the most enlightening thing that's ever happened to them. They're like, oh my God, like I'm present. I am connecting with truth. I'm seeing you as a fluid, changing, present, real human being that doesn't fit in these stupid boxes. And not that labels or identity structures are inherently wrong. What's wrong, in my opinion, is when people assume and prescribe certain roles to you based off of specific things about your character, maybe the way you speak, the way you dress, the actions you do, the choices you make. And they decide in their heads this is your label, or this is your label, or this is your identity, or this is what I'm assuming about you as an entire person. And if you are a hippie, you can't be conservative politically, or if you are a liberal, you can't, I don't know, you know what I mean? These like things that just blow people's minds up. You know, if you, I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head. Well, okay, here's one. If you eat meat, but you also, maybe you love animals, you're a veterinarian, but you eat meat, or you have a pet, you have some farm animal as a pet, but then you go eat a hamburger, you know what I mean? You know, some people just hold a broader spectrum of reality than others. And for those others, when you're in their presence, if you are the person holding that broader spectrum of reality that doesn't fit into their framework of reality, being around you fucks up their sense of safety. And so that's why people all of a sudden maybe have been turning on you, or ignoring you, or turning the other way. And I've noticed this happens in my own life. As soon as I start to speak the truth, my observations, and I shine and I show myself, what happens is, as I am revealing my own inner revelations about the fabric of reality and the basis for all of my assumptions, and I confront that, and I can stand in the middle of the storm as my preconceptions crumble and my psychic tapestry literally rearranges itself. That's like what ego death is, basically. That's what I'm talking about. If you're someone who knows what dying on an ego level is like, you're going to find yourself in situations probably throughout the rest of your life where you evolve more rapidly than the people around you can keep up with, and certain people. And then, you know, that's okay. That's okay. There will always be people, there will always be spaces where the reflection of your truth, your genius, your brilliance, your clarity, your strength, your power is reflected. And in my life, when I haven't had that through relationships, I found it through God. I found it through synchronicities. I found it through literally praying, for example, for a bird to fly in front of me, and it happens right then and there. And this, my friends, is a consequence of being in tune, in integrity with your spirit, with your soul, with your truth. When you live in total alignment with your truth, with your soul, I mean, I'm speaking from my own experience, the laws of nature respond immediately to you. And it's not an ego thing. It is not a desire. It's not a ego grasping based phenomenon. It is a soul, God ordained phenomenon. And you know, if you're like me, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just telling the truth. This is just what happens. So may this message find the right people. If this is for you, you are likely somebody who has gone through, or is going through, or is about to go through an experience where you start to tell the truth, you start to uncover deeper layers of yourself. You might be shedding relationships. You might find that you are the only one pointing out the flaw in a system, in a structure, or, you know, pointing out the harm that's being done by a certain person or in a certain environment. You might be the only one actually sticking up against it and doing something about it, saying something about it, and the people around you are not ready or willing to face that ego death, because that means confronting emotions and sensations that their nervous systems are literally not equipped, they're not wired to hold yet. And again, if you are someone who's comfortable with ego death and surrendering your self-concept over and over and over, and like dying to the void, then you understand the importance of working on expanding the capacity of your nervous system, because as humans, we process energy through our physiological nervous system, and there's only so much that a nervous system can handle at one time. And that's why some people, you hear these stories about people going on psychedelic trips and never coming back, because they kind of got lost in the void. They didn't have the capacity or the support externally, the reflections externally, to mirror their experience back to them from a place that's rooted in a kind of eternal knowing. Instead, they got trapped, or they got pathologized, or they were in the presence of someone who wasn't, to be blatantly honest, wasn't shamanic enough to hold what they were experiencing. And I see this, and I'm calling it straight and loud. Like, in the world, there is a systemic ignorance of what I'm talking about, and I have confronted it head on in hospitals, in education systems, in medical systems, and in smaller institutions like families and relationships and small communities. Not everybody is equipped to lead in a shamanic way, but I am, and if this message is for you, then you probably are too, so I just wanted to call this out. It was burning in my chest, and I had to say something about this, and I just wanted to validate. If you're walking this path, it's not you. It is not you. You know yourself. You have self-knowledge, then you know it's not you. And people will say what they'll say, they'll think what they'll think, they'll turn away. Good. And inside of you, you will confront the parts, the phantoms and the echoes that still live inside of you from the people who planted doubt, or their own misunderstanding, or their own lack of a capacity to meet you at your full depth, because you are profound. You are a shaman type person. You have transcended realms that if other people set foot into, they would never return. They would never return. But you are built differently. You are deeper than most people. That's a fact. And I can say this because I am like you. And I know people will judge me because, you know why? Because their self-concept, their framework for reality cannot wrap itself around mine. Because I have gone to places that other people haven't gone, and that's okay. And it's not, I don't say this to say I'm better than you. I am experiencing reality from a different vantage point. I have traveled to places that other people have not. And because I can speak from these places, the unknown is inherently terrifying. It is. And our egos are literally designed to help us survive. So most people, maybe who are living in more of a space of survival or comfortable, or what, not even necessarily any of those things, but not everybody has the resources internally to allow their egos to open up so much that their worlds crumble, because facing certain truths would mean letting go of everything and staying there for a really long time, and being uncomfortable for a really long time, and actually learning to remain embodied and to live in a grounded way from that space of letting everything go. But the fact is that the majority of society still has 9-to-5 jobs that they need to show up at, or else they will panic and they don't know how else they're going to feed their children. The reality is that most people are just living, gridlocked into lives and structures that support their survival, but not necessarily their soul. So they're making a compromise. They're compromising their soul essence, literally selling their soul for structures that feed off of it and are designed to repress the truth. But one way or another, it always comes back. And I thank God every day that I have the set of support and resources that I have to allow me to make the decisions that I can make. I can afford I can actually afford to have to let go of close relationships, even, you know, because they were eluding me. They were not really for me. They were not really the best options for me, but I can afford to let go of that. I am not like a tribal human being that's dependent on other people for basic survival. I live in an era, in a time where I have a roof over my head. I have a car, I drive. I have access to food and water. And I have time to actually feel my freaking emotions. And so I can sit with the truth. I can face it, and I can choose to walk in it, in the truth. I can afford to let go of what once upon a time a tribe of human beings could provide, because I can get it indirectly. I can get food without having to talk to somebody. This is actually kind of really sad. But the thing is that I'm saying this because part of my truth is having relationships that meet me at the depth that I exist at, because I have a calling in my soul. I feel a craving in my soul to have fairy tale relationships and to meet a husband who can meet me at a soul level. And I have a craving to have friendships that feel reciprocal and pour into me as much as I pour into them, and who have kind of mastered their own egos, who are in the driver's seat of their lives, because that's me. But I don't have any close friends right now. You know, when I've told the truth, when I've offered reflections with compassion, generosity, kindness, my whole heart, what happens? You know, they can't handle it, so they turn the other way and they continue making choices that are hurting themselves. But I don't do that. Every time in my life I see the truth about a situation or relationship, you know, something is not aligned, I let it go, and I grieve, and I let that version of myself die. And I've done that with my own family. I have literally gone against my biological wiring, working off of faith and the knowing of my soul, the calling of my soul, because I've been shown the goodness that comes on the other side of surrendering to the truth, even if it means that temporarily my outside world is reflecting nothing back to me for a long time. These people were sitting here at a green light. So that's me, and I'm walking in the fire. I'm in the fire, and not a lot of people are willing to do this. And it's not even necessarily a matter of willingness, it's a matter of capacity and readiness. There's a certain preparation that the difficult experiences that you go through in life give to you, so that you can continue to walk in truth, so that you can continue to remain intact when you are in the fire of, I forget that word that starts with a C, but it's like when your whole life burns up. It's like a process of death or something. That it's like, Carolyn Elliott shared this word in one of her posts one time, and it's like a process of transformation, and it's the part where you're actually burning alive in the fire. It feels like you're burning alive. I don't think I have the courage to endure that level of physical pain, you know, like Jesus did. I mean, he was hung on a cross by nails in his hands, and that's just so fucking painful sounding. And there are Tibetan monks who have protested abuse by actually lighting themselves on fire and meditating through it, because they actually built up the capacity in their freaking nervous systems to hold that level of pain. And the thing is, if you're someone who has the capacity in your nervous system to hold emotional depths and levels of intensity that other people do not, you're gonna feel lonely sometimes. But that very gift and superpower, it is a superpower, and you can use it to bear and brace what it takes in order for you to finally receive what your soul is asking for. So if you're like me, if you're one of these people, if you're a deep ass person and you know what I'm talking about here, then I'm just rooting for you, and I'm saying hello, because we are one and the same, and there's more people like us out there. And one day I'm gonna meet people who know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're gonna maybe hear this video or hear me repeat some of the things I'm talking about here and say, yes, fuck yes, like this is the story that's been driving my spirit, you know, until I met the people that I could share my universe with. I have so much in my heart and soul to share, and I'm desperate to share. But for the majority of my life, my relationships, I have never found spaces or places where I can fully drop into my whole soul and share what's in there with people. But that's what I want. I'm not satisfied without it. And not everyone is like that. Not everyone is like me. So one more time, if you are one of those people, I'm just saying, hey, and I'm just offering you encouragement. I don't know if we're meant to cross paths or if we are just, you know, living parallel stories right now, but I had to share this message, and I am truly, truly, truly here with you in the heat, in the fire, and I think you're so cool and so courageous and brave for doing what you're doing, and it's gonna pay off, and may this find you at the right time when you need to hear it. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.